Gassy Jack Gear Reviews back. It's been a long time, and apologize for that, but there hasn't been a lot going on as far as acquisitions in my collection. But about 2 weeks ago, I went to a Rolex kind of event at my local AD, and I called in advance, a day in advance, and I said, "Listen, do you have an Explorer One?" And he said, "We have one." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm coming to the gala tomorrow. Are you able to put it aside for me?" And he said, um, how certain are you that you're going to take the watch? And I said, 100%. He's like, "Okay, I'm going to put it away for you." I got there. It was in the back, so it wasn't even for show. So no one could, maybe, I don't know if they would actually accept the higher offer or not, but they had it aside for me, which was really nice. But this is my fourth watch that I've purchased through this dealer. So, I've treated them well. They've treated me well. And so I've been looking for this watch, or wanting to get this watch anyway, for a few years now. And I purchased the Submariner as my first Rolex. And then, if you've watched my videos, I was at the gala last year, and I had the option actually to choose this watch to purchase, or another one that I was really wanting, which is the DateJust 41. And I was there with a friend of mine, and I said, "I don't know which one to get. I do want both of them. Eventually, I will collect both of them, but which one today?" And he said, "You know what? You don't have anything with this a lighter color dial in your collection." He said, "I would go for that one if that was you." So I did. I went for the date just last year. But like I said, I came across the opportunity to purchase this one, and I was saving for it. So I pulled the trigger on it, and I'm very happy I did. It's such a nice watch. Unlike my other two Rolex, this one does not draw attention, and I really actually like that about it, because I do love wearing it. But sometimes, depending on the crowd that I'm with, I don't want to draw too much attention to my watch, even though I really do like them. Some of my friends are into watches, but most people are not. And if you have this on your wrist, people are going to probably notice the date just a lot more than they would this Explorer, which can kind of go incognito. So I really like that about it, because sometimes you just don't want to draw attention to something like this. But like I said, really happy with it. It's a 39 millimeter. I'll bring this back, the date just back in, to compare to a 42. The date just wears, I don't even want to say bigger, because it really doesn't. Like, if you look at them, and I'm looking at them off camera, and it's really, I'll be honest, for me, it's hard to distinguish a big difference. Like, it doesn't even, they look like the same diameter. But anyway, that's just me looking off camera. But they're, I put them exactly side by side here. They're exactly side by side. What do you think? But it wears beefier. You can see it is slightly higher, and I don't have the specs on these. I could care less. You go look them up. Have some fun there. But it is slightly deeper case. It is a 41 as opposed to a 39 mil. So larger case diameter. Beautiful starburst dial on the DateJust, whereas the Explorer is it's a gloss black, but it is not as dark and inky as the Submariner, and I didn't know that. I'll just bring that in. I'll bring the sub in to compare. Look at how inky, and I hope this shows up on camera, how inky you know what? I don't think it's showing up on camera, but it's absolutely in person. You can see it 100% when they're side by side. There's no comparison between the Submariner black, which is very dark inky, to the black And it is a glossy black as well, but not as glossy as the Sub. Well, might as well have a side-by-side comparison. The Sub has the maxi case, or the super case, whatever they call it, maxi dial super case. And it wears, between these three watches, the Explorer is definitely the lightest wearing. It feels skinnier, it feels thinner altogether. The Sub being kind of the beefiest feeling, and then the DateJust, and then the Explorer. But the Explorer is, it's not a huge watch. 39 mils is not huge by today's standards, but I certainly do like it a lot more than the 36 mil, the older version. 38 to 40 for me is the sweet spot. So 39 being right there, it's pretty great. It has a more secure clasp than the DateJust because it has this double clasp. You open that up first, and then it has that hinge here, which is difficult with gloves. Okay. Standard Rolex clasp, except for it does have the 5 mil extension for when your wrists swell up, and it does have 3. You can see it there, 1, 2, and it's in the nearest sort of divot there. I'll put it on for a second. I should have done a customary wristwatch check. Can you guess? Trusty F91W. It's on all the time at home. It's my ultimate beater watch, and it does the job quite well for $15 or whatever it was. Okay, let me put this on. My about 6 3/4 inch wrist, something like that, 6 7/8. So not big wrists by any stretch of the imagination, and might as well keep it on here for a bit because I know what it's like watching videos and the watches on wrist and just like, put the goddamn watch on your wrist, or at least I do. Anyway, so wears very well on wrist. I don't have as perfect a fit with this watch as I do even the DateJust. And what I mean by that is I have skinny wrists. Like there's no fat on them. So I need to wear my wrist watches very, not very tight, perfectly fit to my wrist so that they don't slide down. Now my wrist might be a little swollen right now compared to what it is usually during the day. But I do find sometimes if I'm dehydrated, stuff like that, that the watch will slide down over that bump there. You can see that bump, which I wear it behind. It will slide over, and I just can't stand it because it really digs in. Watches when they fall down, they really fall down on me. So I have to have the perfect fit. And with I'm just going to bring the Sub over here. With the Sub, as most people watching this video will know, the Sub has that double clasp as well, security clasp. But what it has is, see these notches over there by my left thumb? Watch what I do. I'm going to pull this out, and I can move this along. Sorry. I can move this along, all of those notches, and get a perfect fit. I really do wish that all Rolexes came with this clasp system that they have on the Submariner. And, to be honest, all metal bracelets, I believe, should have all good quality, premium priced wristwatch metal bracelets. I believe that they should have some sort of fine tuning on the go clasp system for guys like me. But anyway, back to the watch. I'll bring another watch in here just as a comparison. Let me take it off, right? So get all your jewels in now. Nice reflection. Okay, I'm going to take this off, And I'm going to bring into view another watch as well. Let me just put my... I'll just put that in view for you there. And I'm going to bring another one in view, which is the Omega Speedmaster. The Omega Speedmaster is a fantastic watch. It's not the most accurate, it's not as accurate as these Rolexes, but it has so much character. And when collecting watches, I'll show you my collection in another video, but it's drastically reduced because I do have some more expensive pieces that I had to kind of make way for as well. I find that when I get better watches, like the higher quality watches, I do tend to wear some of the other ones that are similar in design, but not as high quality. I tend to wear them a bit less. So, for instance, and I wish I was able to keep it until I got this Rolex Explorer, but I had a Seiko Alpinist on a strap code Angus Jubilee, which was a really, really nice watch. And I hope the new owner is very happy with it, because I certainly wore it well. I take care of my watches very much. I give them a bath every time I take them off, which is every night. And I keep them tip top. So that gentleman is going to have a really nice watch. But I did figure, once I got this Rolex in hand, I wasn't that disappointed that I got rid of the Seiko, only for the fact that I got a good price for it, because, like I said, it was in such good condition. It really looked brand new. But I knew, I had confirmed that I wasn't going to wear the Seiko nearly as much. Like, it probably would have gone on my wrist once a month at that point. So it just wasn't worth keeping. It's held its value great. In fact, I may have even made a bit on that, because I got a really good price new on it. That's a whole other story. But I just knew I wasn't going to get the wear out of it, so not that disappointed. And two other watches that I got rid of, because I wasn't going to play with them with the Submariner, were the Seiko Turtle and the Seiko Sumo. And those are two great watches. I really, really do like them. And you could say, like, okay, now he's gotten rid of all of the Seikos, and it's true. But I mean, I love Seikos. I really, really do. And I'm kind of like, I haven't really seen anything in the last year that I've been super crazy about that they've come out with, but I'm absolutely open to new Seikos that come out, because I really love that brand. But I just wasn't getting the play, because they serve the same purpose, but the Submariner was better. Once in a while, I would break out the Seiko Turtle, but the Sumo certainly wasn't getting the wear that it deserved. So I'm happy that they went to new homes. I didn't have really anything that competed with the Omega Speedmaster, but what was I going to say? Oh, the Speedmaster. The Speedmaster, it has a, compared to this watch, the Speedmaster, the Speedmaster Professional, has an acrylic crystal. And this watch for a while wasn't getting that much play, and I was like, damn, should I get rid of it? And I'm like, it's such an iconic watch. And I was almost keeping it for a while. I swear, I was almost keeping it for a while, just because of what watch lovers think of it. Because I'm like, oh, but it's so cool to have as a collector. And then, I don't know, one day I put it back on. I was like, damn, you know what? This is a fantastic watch. What the hell was I thinking? And so I'm so glad I didn't part with it, because it is such a fantastic watch. It has so much character. And, as I've collected watches and bought and sold watches, and I've gone through quite a few now, really looking at the Speedmaster, I recommend it to anyone. I wish it was more water resistant. It's 50 meters water resistant, but it's because it's a more expensive watch. I would never take it, like, swimming even. I'm sure it could, but just wouldn't want to take the chance. That's the only real complaint I have about the watch. But yeah, so this compared to that, the Speedmaster, for anyone who knows, is 42 millimeters, as opposed to the Explorer, which is 39. Um, the bracelet is quite nice on both of them. The Rolex, the finishing is finer. I wouldn't say by much, but it's a different steel. And I believe so the Rolex steel is their own proprietary 904 steel, whereas the Omega Speedmaster is standard kind of watch steel. Is was it 340 or 306, whatever the hell it is? I can't even remember. No, they said the Rolex 904 360L, something like that. I don't know. Whatever the standard metal for watches is. I can't think of it right now. But certainly a nice, both of them are nice bracelets. I don't mind this polishing on the outside inners links on the Speedmaster because they don't get scuffed up. You really don't notice them. They're just kind of there. I think they're recessed a bit. Maybe that's why they don't get scuffed up. I love full brushed for sure. I'm going to take this out of view. My only complaint about the DateJust is honestly, I would prefer the DateJust fully brushed because it does pick up scratches. I take care of them, but it does pick up scratches. You can see there. Much more on the polished surfaces than on brush surfaces. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you actually like a DateJust that was fully brushed? I don't know. The Jubilee, I really like the Jubilee. If I was going to get a 36, I would have gotten Jubilee, same silver dial, but I would have gotten the Jubilee with a fluted bezel. It would have been real flashy, but this being a 41, I didn't want it blinged out. That's why I went for the oyster bracelet and the fluted bezel, because being on the larger watch, for if you were to use that as a dress watch, it's blingy. Like it's a gorgeous watch, but oh my god, like if you walk in a room, like people are going to see the reflections on the walls that turn around. It's crazy blingy, way too loud for me. The 36. Even the 36, that's, it's blingy. But I think maybe on the right occasion, that'd be a great watch. But what do you guys think? I'll put all these out here. And tell me what you think of the DateJust in comparison to these other watches. Like I said, I will tell you that the DateJust, sorry, not the DateJust, the Explorer. I will tell you that the Explorer does wear smaller than any of these watches. It feels thinner. It feels lighter. If you like that, that's great. But I will even go this far. It almost felt like it was like, oh, it doesn't feel maybe as quality as these other two watches, just because it felt thinner. So I can imagine, like, if I put on like a Grand Seiko, snowflake with titanium, fully titanium, I don't know if I could get behind that watch now, just because I kind of like a minimum feeling of this. This one feels even just slightly too light. But for a lot of people, they'll say, no, what are you talking about, you idiot? That's a good thing. And it might very well be. But, how you judge quality. Like some people judge quality, in the perception in their mind is that if a heavier watch is a better watch. And it's not true. But it I don't know, it just has that feeling. But if I was to say which watch on this table feels the best on wrist, that one right there, the Submariner. That's a no decision. The second one would be the DateJust. The third one would be this one, the Explorer, and the fourth one, right behind the Explorer, for me would be the Speedmaster Professional. These are all superb watches. I don't consider these high-end watches. These are my highest-end watches. Absolutely have been probably always will be. But what I mean by that, and if you've seen my videos before, I've said before, Rolex are not high horology watches. That sort of category is reserved for the upper echelon, the Pateks, the IWCs, the Langenzunas, those type of watches. Rolex are great watches. They are fantastic watches, and they're workhorse watches. And yes, they've become known for luxury watches. I'm not denying that fact, because these watches are at the end of my budget, like the top end of my budget. So these are my greatest watches that I'll probably own, but they shouldn't be. People shouldn't. I hate when people think about Rolex and have their noses in the air, because someone will walk past you with a $300,000 Patek or a Langenzoon or something like that. And I've seen a guy wearing. I was at a dinner party, and I looked over, and he was wearing an A. Langenzoon, and I've never seen one outside of that experience in person. And I didn't even, I was wearing my sub, and I didn't even question the guy. And normally I would be like, dude, what is, I have to see that watch. I was just like, you know what? He's so far, in the fast lane that I'm like, I'm not even going to, ask about it, because he's going to ask to see my watch, and it's going to feel stupid. So it really just does show you. I don't, you know what? Here, I'll pull a couple of watches from my current collection that I've not gotten rid of. There you go. I have that one, Casio. I have this other same Casio. These are all F91W kind of variants, if you want to say. And I have my G-Shock, which is my ultimate tough watch. Really dig that watch. That goes camping with me on excursions like that. I still have the watch that my brother gave me when I was, I don't know, about 19 years old, 18, 19, 20, something like that. And I'll be giving that to his son, my nephew, when I think he's responsible enough to not lose it like he does with everything as a 12-year-old kid. This one here, I'm going to do a separate review, but I got this, the Timex Q. And I have to say, I really, really, really like it. It's a very, very fun watch. And I'm not against quartz watches at all. They're great grab and go, for sure. And the accuracy and the fact that you don't have to do anything if you put it down for a few days to get it going again, because it's going. It's a little on the pricey side for what it is. I think it was like $256 delivered Canadian. I'm in Ontario here in Canada. But you know what? I think it should have been in line more with about $120, $150. But I don't care, because it's one of the most fun watches I've ever actually owned. And so great value there. And I've gotten rid of everything else, believe it or not. So the Vostok is gone. That went to someone actually very close to me. They're one town away. I got rid of the Hamilton Interstellar. And the only reason I got rid of that one was because I got this. The Hamilton Interstellar. It just had, color-wise, looks-wise, it had too much in common for me. Too close to the Explorer, that I knew I wasn't going to wear that watch. And so when I was getting close, I put it up on eBay and I sold it, and it was in mint condition. So hopefully they have fun with it as well. But I don't know what's in the future. There is one watch, and it's going to take a bit to save up for it. I could get it in the States online for probably $1,000, maybe $1,500 Canadian cheaper, going through a US AD on Chrono 24. But I've never done that before, and I do like to support my local dealers. They're willing to work with me a bit, and the watch is Panerai 372. And I didn't know if I could actually pull a watch like that off, because it's big and I have small wrists. So one day, the closest dealer to me is like an hour and 20 away from me. And a buddy of mine and I went, and I said, "Yeah, let's go to this mall. They have so many different high-end watches or higher-end watches at this mall." And I said, "I've never put a Panerai on my wrist. I don't know. I might not be able to pull it off at all." And so went there and tried it on. And I tried the 372, which is a 47 mil manual wind, and I tried the 1312 1312, and that is an automatic with a day complication, seconds complication. Whereas the 372 is just, it doesn't have a seconds hand, it's just a minutes an hour. And I tried the 3132, which is a 44 on, and I tried that one on first, and it felt too bubbly. It felt too top heavy, and I was like, okay. And then they were looking for a 372 in the back, and they came up with a 372, and I tried it on, and it's flat on the bottom, much more flat than the 44, the automatics. And the reason is because it's a manual wind, and it doesn't need more space on the bottom for that rotor, so it's much more flat on the wrist. And even though it's a 47, it felt right on the wrist, and it didn't look bad. They're meant to look big, but I really dig that watch. And I remember when I first saw Panerai, first time I ever saw Panerai, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? That's a little weird. I don't really like that watch. And my brother-in-law really loves Panerai. It's probably his favorite. And I remember going, yeah, I can't really get behind it until I put it on. Well, actually, not until I put it on. I started, coming around. I'm like, you know what? Those are really cool watches. And then start watching some videos. I'm like, wow, they have something about them. And then my boss had one on. And I was like, whoa, what's this? And she's like, oh yeah, yeah, and I'm just borrowing it. So I don't know if she's dating someone that owns it. I don't know what's going on. But I took a look at it in person. I was like, damn, that is nice. And I forget exactly which one she has. It's the one with the bubble date. One of the ones with the bubble date. I don't know. So I don't know if it's current or a few years old. I'm not sure. But anyway, when I put that 372 on, I'm in love. I'm in love. And I could see a Panerai sitting right over here in maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And I don't know what else I'll get. I mean, I would definitely still have my G-Shock because it suits my purposes for my camping trips and stuff like that. F91W, of course, for home. And who knows as far as like, would I keep that Timex Q for long term? I don't know. I mean, if I get bored of it, I'll get rid of it because it's not expensive. So I'll just kind of go, I'll pass that on to the next person sort of thing, or give it to a friend or something. But definitely this lineup here, my higher end lineup, will definitely have a Panerai 372 at some point. After that, who knows? But here's my sort of classic collection. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll do a review on the Timex soon too. Anyway, enjoy. Bye.